it's reflection time. I just drove with my dog to the next kind of forest walking path, kind of. And I decided to make this video. So these are random but helpful tips no one asked for, inspired by my parents. Yay! Um, okay. So my first tip is you don't have to share your thoughts 24/7 when you're around someone. You can write your thoughts down. You can make voice memos. I think voice memos are pretty helpful. I do them sometimes when I don't have time for writing, and also I feel like it's way faster because I can't write as fast as I think. I mean, I can also not talk as fast as I think, but it's way easier saying out loud what you think, because at least my brain is quite fast when it comes to thoughts and ideas. But, sometimes it's better to keep your thoughts to yourself. Why do I say this? Because first, not everyone deserves to know what you think. And second, not everyone wants to know what you think. It can also be kind of a burden to share your thoughts all the time, unannounced, for the person who is with you most of the time, or who's like always with you. Yeah. Can you hear the birds? Can you hear the Can you hear the airplane? There's always another way. There's always another way out. There's always another way in, or to a goal, to a dream. In a way, there's always another solution for a problem as well. It doesn't matter in what situation you're in, there are always multiple ways out. There are always multiple ways to get to that thing you want. It is your choice, it is your life. When someone says you only have two options, for example, you can stay in that company. Okay, you can stay in a company, or you don't have an income and get homeless. Yeah, it's your decision. Don't trust that person. I mean, that's quite logical, but if you think about it. But I know there are people who don't really reflect and take things people say as a fact when they are in a higher position, or when they're older, or when they're sort of wiser. You don't have only two options or three options or one option. There are always multiple ways you can do this thing or solve this thing. If you're going to a shop and you find a dress, and the dress is in yellow and in blue. Okay, but you're not sure about them, and you ask the staff, do you have it in another color? And they're like, no, only in yellow and blue. Like, you have to choose between those two, unfortunately. Does it have to be true? No, because what if that dress is also available in pink in another store, and you really want to have a pink dress, actually, and that same dress is available in pink but in another store? You need to think outside the box when it comes to problem solving and getting to your goal, leaving a place, a person, because sometimes we're so stuck in that one thinking pattern, in that one circle, and our mind is like circling around that one thing all the time, circling around that thing. What if there's, what is outside of that circle? What haven't you thought about before? That's very important. Also, when people behave like that and try to sabotage you, block you, or it doesn't matter if it's conscious or subconscious, but people are not living in your body. My point was, they don't know what you think. They can't, sometimes they can see your visions, they can see your dreams, Also, you don't say everything out loud. There are things that you keep to yourself. Sometimes you only share dreams and the visions. Sometimes you only share. I turned my camera around so when things look a little bit weird, my recording stopped because I don't have enough footage. Or what is it called? Like there's I don't have enough space to make the next video kind of because there's too much stuff on my phone. Bruh. But yeah, what I wanted to say is people don't know what's going on inside of you, what you want to do, what you're criticizing, like what you want to optimize about that. Sometimes you only talk about your dreams and don't talk about what you want to do and what you could optimize, how you can do it better, or what is missing, you know? And sometimes you only talk about what's missing, what, like, how can I do better and how do I do this, and or you only talk about what you want to do, but this is not the right way, and people will never know your whole vision even though you talk about it and you want help. Not everyone has positive intentions for you. There are people who have positive intentions for themselves, which is okay, which is fine. We get it, you know, but you need to rely on yourself first. And you can always get professional help and ask someone who maybe already has that business, or for mentorship, asking a coach for help in that sense. My dog eats grass. I'm kind of so weird right now. Okay, shut up. But yeah, sometimes we need to keep it to ourselves first and then go out and tell everyone about our dream. So, however, do not explain yourself. Do not over explain yourself in some situations. Just think about, does this person really want to help me with the things, or does he or she even care, or does this person even deserve what is going on in my life and what I dream of and what I think. Also, not everyone wants to know, because people have their own lives, people have their own views, people have their own everything, and sometimes they just don't care, and that's totally fine. That's okay. It's actually good. Not caring is good. So there's nothing you can get embarrassed of, or can get embarrassed of. Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is you can't control everything. You drive to work in the morning and you do your normal everyday schedule, and there's something unexpectedly happening and someone bumps into your car, and it's something that you can't control, and now you're late to your workplace. You can be angry all you want. You can look for the faults in yourself or in the other person. Actually, in the other person, but you can try to. Also, when you're in a traffic jam is maybe a better example. When you're in traffic jam, and that was very unexpected because normally you take the way to the office, whereas normally no traffic jam, but suddenly there is, and you're super late to the office or to your workplace. You can be angry all you want, you can be sad all you want. You can feel so disappointed of yourself. It doesn't matter because it's something that happened unexpectedly. Yes, next time you can wake up earlier, or you can try to look. Need to watch my dog. You can try to look in the morning, like cameras, if you have access to it, and or maybe asking coworkers that take the same way, and ask them, okay, is there a traffic jam? I don't know. There are always solutions, but there are things that are out of your control. Traffic jam, the weather, the family you're born in, and you can't change it. Sometimes you just have to work with it, and you need to find a solution, and you can find a solution if you want to, but sometimes you just have to realize these are things that you cannot control because they're unexpected. And this is my dog, by the way. You also don't have control over people, over their thoughts, over their actions, over how they think about you, what their goals are, what their achievements are, what they do tomorrow. I mean, you can be a great manipulator. You can try manipulating them if you want to. I don't recommend though. You can also not control accidents, the past, and the time itself, and global events. You cannot control a war. Also, not one person cannot control war as well. People always say, oh yeah, that one political person is the reason why the war hasn't stopped or why the war began. It always takes two. It always takes even multiple people to start a war. It's never one person. When there's bullying, it doesn't start off with one person hating another. There are always multiple people involved, because bullying takes place and keeps going because people don't actually call the bullies out. If you would go to the bullies and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Okay, why are you doing this? Maybe a bad question. But, just calling their actions, calling their behavior out and tell them to stop. It's not the same as a war, but that's just an example. But the things you can change, the things that you can control are your words, your actions, your thoughts, how you talk to yourself, how you talk to other people, what you do in your free time, how you cope with challenges and habits, where you put your energy to. And it's just a friendly reminder, when bad things happen that are out of your control, it's not your fault. It's just not. Also, next one. You can believe everything you want. You can try to understand what you want. You can make a why and what is happening for what reason in every situation and every person. But if you don't know, you don't know. And sometimes you just need to stop doing interpretations, because there's a difference between what you see and how you do the interpretation of what you see. Because, I can see a tree with green leaves and I can see a brown stem, but interpretation would be, okay, this tree is sick because it looks kind of not straight, like a little bit crooked, and there are not as many leaves as on other trees. And that would be interpretation. If I see a girl wearing her hoodie and she's like putting her hood over her head, I could be like, oh my god, that poor girl, she's so sad. Maybe she just, whatever, maybe she's just cold, It doesn't have to be how you think. And that's the next thing. It says so much about you, how you perceive things. So, in my opinion, I think sometimes it can be dangerous to say out loud how you see things, because people instantly get a sense of who you are, what you think, and how you act. Sometimes, you can say a lot about words, what you say, and I would just be careful in general what I say to people when I share my point of view. So stop assuming to know people, to know situations if you actually don't know. Yes, you can make up things. Yes, maybe you know that person, but you don't know if her boyfriend broke up with her or if she's just cold. You can pity someone, but it doesn't mean their life is actually bad and sad. Maybe you would feel sad and miserable in their shoes, but you have a different life, they have a different life. We're just all different. We don't have to pity someone who doesn't feel sad, who is actually happy, just because we have different boundaries, different lives, different feelings. We like different things. You know, when I would sleep outside, I would have the best time of my life. But my mom would be like, "Oh my god, that poor girl is sleeping outside. Oh my god, she's not having a dryer. Oh my god, how can she survive in the forest?" Okay, can you disappear? Thank you. Also, something that's very logical in my point of view, don't act out of spite. I think that makes sense. Yes, there are situations where you're like, oh my god, that's the perfect situation where I can really pay them back, you know? I can make them feel so bad and worse than what they did to me and all of that stuff. But not that it not only says it a lot about you, and it's also bad for your karma. I do believe in karma, but why would you do that? I just think if I don't want the same back, I don't do it. And if I still have these thoughts, I try to get back and be like, no, this is not good. This is not. That's just not. I don't want this for me. I don't want this for someone who's very close to me. I don't wish this anybody, so why would I want to do that bad thing and I want to pay them back in a way? Yeah, it's in general, it's just, I mean, it could be everything actually. It could be killing, it can be destroying things, you know. I saw everything in my family. not the killing part. But you know, it's just, that's just how I think. Why I don't want this for myself, so why should I do it to them? Also, I don't want to be a bad person, so why should I act like a bad person? Also, that's the next thing. What is a good person? What is a bad person? And that's something that you decide for yourself. Sometimes I just don't understand why people discuss things like these, because it just means something differently to everyone. It's different to everyone. There are people who say like a bad person is someone who eats meat, and another person may think you're a bad person if you don't take care of your body and their needs. There's a person who thinks eating meat is bad and you're a bad person. So it means something different to you, to me, to everyone else, and I don't think it's worth discussing, except when the person is actually open for the exchange of opinions. And that's not true for everyone, of course. It's the last one. People won't listen to you if you're not leading with a good example. Okay, let's take an example. Let's say there's a friend group and sometimes you go out, you drink alcohol, but there's this one person who clearly drinks a little bit too much alcohol and over the time got addicted and now drinks every day. Now, then there's this point where this person maybe became an alcoholic and you still go out as a group, but you see the addiction, and then there's maybe one or two people who say it directly, like very straightforward, into his face. Oh my god, stop drinking so much alcohol, you're ruining your life. Oh my god, are you stupid? And so on. Now, I think we all agree that that is just not the best way to say that to an alcoholic, because they know they have a problem. They know it. They took alcohol as an escapism, as a solution, and sometimes you can't help them. And you also can't help them if you're not a good example. When you're still going out, everyone's still drinking alcohol with the alcoholic. Of course, he won't listen to you in the first place because you drink alcohol as well. And maybe if you stop drinking alcohol, he could consider also stop drinking alcohol. People like to have their lives under their control. When you try to take over and try to control them, even though you have positive intentions, but people want to have control over their own lives. And it's also important. I always think there's someone standing there. I don't know why. But people need to be open for... Can you focus? People need to be open for change, to change, Like, if they're not open, if they don't want to change, of course you can't help them. And you cannot try to convince them. It's not helping. You can try to lead with a good example. You can stop judging them, stop reminding them of their addiction. Very important. And just be a good friend. I need to look at my dog. I just sprinted because my dog ran away. I think that happened, the last time that happened was when she was a teenager, 2 years old or something. And I'm so out of breath. Yeah. And I needed... She almost ran completely, back to our car. And that was not near, was quite far. Oh, I can't. But yeah, my point, I got a little bit... I almost got emotional because I was like, I'm never gonna reach her because she was so far away. But yeah, I trusted her a little bit too much, I guess. She just wanted home, I know. Okay, but look at the sunset. Wow, it's so pretty. Okay, what I wanted to say when it comes to being a good friend for someone, for example, it's just an example, who struggles with addiction. It doesn't have to be alcohol, it can be smoking, it can be playing video games all day, every day, and only having that as a hobby, not going outside. Just be there for them. And I recommend stop doing this and do other things with them and join them, but do not drink alcohol, do not play video games or whatever their addiction may be. Do not do that, and try to be a good friend, try to be there for them. I think that's the only thing you can do. If it gets worse, if it gets really bad and it messes up their lives so much that they take their lives, it will not be your fault. It is not your fault. You did your best if it already happened, but sometimes, even if you want to help them, you can't. Even though you try to, you can't. And that's okay. And I think that's it for the video. And I can hear a train again. Oh, I'm so done. I actually thought about going to the gym today, but I think that's done. Look at the sunset. Look at the sunset though. Okay, hope you have a great day. I hope you don't have to need to chase your dog 1 kilometer. Yeah. Good day. Bye. She got actually so close to the street, where the car is at, broom broom, Yeah. Life with a dog. Highly recommend though, because they're so cute and so nice and lovely. But yeah, sunset. Slay. Okay. Bye.